Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Niket Karunaratne, together with Masha Dharmavardhana. We'll start off with the headlines as usual. Sub-Police Inspector of Thihagoda acknowledges that the shooting was carried out by him. The suspect has been placed under detention till the 4th of next month. A gas shortage in the market. The consumers will be granted relief once again on the 5th of next month. The G7 groups focuses attention to make concessions on Sri Lanka's debt crisis. Special revelation on the drug called ice from Kurunegala. Minister of Agriculture says that there is no threat of a rice shortage. The final round of the Brazilian presidential election is to be held tomorrow.
On to those and other stories in detail now, starting with your local stories. Officer in charge of the Thihagoda Police Crime Division, who was taken into custody, has been placed under detention till the 4th of next month.
According to a statement delivered by the OIC to the judiciary, he has accepted that it was he who was engaged in the shooting. The arrest has been made over the incident of the activation of a police firearm in Thihagoda, Mathura. Hospital sources say that the condition of the child injured in the incident has somewhat improved. The shooting was reported to have taken place in Midallavala in Thihagoda around 4:30 p.m. last evening. A group of officials of the crime division of the Thihagoda police station, upon returning from an operation in a three-wheeler, said to have chased a three-wheeler travelling on the road and carried out inspections. Police media spokesman SSP Nihal Talduwa said that a group of officials, including OIC of the crime division of the Thihagoda police station, has embarked on a mission to investigate information regarding circulation of poisonous substances in the area. Upon return from the operation, the officials have spotted a suspected three-wheeler travelling on the road. During the inspection, the firearm of one police officer went off and injured a 15-year-old child. The child's head was reported to have been severely wounded in the shooting. He has been transferred to the Karapiti hospital for further treatment after first being admitted to the Mathura General Hospital. Victim of the incident was 15-year-old student Sankhya Deshan, resident of Katwantudua, Naimbala. An unrest has prevailed upon residents arriving in Thihagoda after receiving information on the incident. A police jeep parked at the location was subject to a stone-throwing attack. Senior DIG in charge of the southern province, Ajit Rohana, has also arrived at the Thihagoda police station after learning of the incident. Doctors said an operation has been performed to stop intense bleeding. Hospital sources say the child is in a much better condition than at admission. Officials of the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission have also visited the scene of shooting and engaged in an investigation this morning. Statements have also been recorded from the relevant parties.
The general public say a gas shortage is prevailing in the market since several days. A national television inquiry has found that several gas retail sales centers have remained closed. Information pertaining to a gas shortage in the market for around 3 days has been reported. Meanwhile, the Litro Gas Company says that the main reason for the current gas shortage has been the decision taken by the company to reduce gas prices once again with effect from 5th of next month. Chairman of the Litro Gas Company, Mudita Peris, says dealers purchasing from gas from the company by now have turned into an extremely low level.
Stern attention of the member nations of the G7 group has been focused on granting relief on the debt crisis faced by Sri Lanka. A special discussion by the ambassadors of the G7 member states in Sri Lanka was held to discuss on the practical measures to be taken in this connection. Debt restructuring is a preliminary factor on the success of the program to be conducted with the International Monetary Fund. German ambassador in Sri Lanka, Helga Subert, has presided over the meeting of the ambassadors last evening. Ambassadors of other countries who participated in the discussion were from Canada, France, Italy, Japan, Britain and the United States of America. The German envoy in a Twitter message stated that the meeting dealt with methodologies to be deployed in extending assistance of the G7 group on the debt restructuring program to be carried out with Sri Lanka's major creditors. Friendly countries are engaged in efforts utilizing different means to assist Sri Lanka.
The Dangerous Drug Control National Council says that higher tendency has been observed of female school children and youth in the Kurunegala district using narcotics called ice. Assistant Instructor of the board, Mrs. Lakshmi Nilanka, said that at a workshop in Kuliyapitiya that parents should focus more attention on youth who frequently visit beauty parlours. The meeting was organised by the excise officers of Kuliyapitiya and held at Saranath Vidyalaya. Assistant Instructor of the Dangerous Drug Control Board, Mrs. Lakshmi Nilanka, said that their biggest problem is the drug called ice. The tendency is more and more females of youth turning to drug. Treatment of female drug addicts would become more difficult than treating female users. The drug menace have other serious social implications. The parents should be more vigilant on female children who are regularly visiting beauty parlours.
The Ministry of Agriculture says there is no threat of a shortage of rice in the near future, as the country is in possession of adequate quantities of paddy. The Paddy Marketing Board has paddy stocks exceeding 7,000 metric tons. The ministry adds that in order to control unrestricted price increases, the PMB would convert its paddy stocks into rice if the need arises. It has also been reported that the storages of the Department of the Commissioner of Food are stored with 10,000 metric tons of rice donated by Myanmar and a further 10,000 metric tons of essential food items received under the World Food Programme. Meanwhile, the Alut Sahal Mangalya, to offer the maiden portion of the rice harvest in the Yala season to the sacred tooth relic of the Sri Dalada Maligava in Kandy, was conducted yesterday under the patronage of Anunayaka of the Asgiriya chapter, Venerable Vendurwave Upalitera. Farmers in 894 farmer organizations in 54 irrigation schemes island-wide have offered milk food to the Sri Dalada Maligava on this occasion. Thereafter, the farmers have offered part of their harvest to the puja bowl of the Dalaga Mandiraya. A group including Minister of Irrigation Roshan Ranasinghe was also present at the occasion. A project to cultivate black gram, cowpea, green gram and peanuts in an extent of 3,221 acres in the Vaunia district has commenced under the National Food Production Programme. Loan facilities are scheduled to be provided to the families with economic difficulties desiring to enter the project. The inauguration ceremony was conducted in Olumadu village in Mankulam yesterday. Black gram cultivation in an extent of 70 acres of land centering on 59 farmer families is being conducted. Now, the Minister of Agriculture, Mahinda Amaravira, said at a seminar in Colombo yesterday that the attention of the government has been focused on issues pertaining to prevention of chemical fertilizer, food security and resolution for farmer disputes. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that all relevant farmers will be given the opportunity to engage in the first application of urea fertilizer, followed by the second and third installments. The muddy fertilizer supplies will be handed over in one installment. The last cultivation season has been successful. Necessary fertilizer stocks will be provided for the current season as well. He has admitted that there was a delay in the provision of fertilizer stocks. However, the full quantity of fertilizer will be granted to the farmers this season. The government is taking all measures to have a bountiful harvest in the Maha season. The minister added that the entire fertilizer requirement for the maize cultivations will also be provided.
State Minister Indika Anuruddha says there will not be cutbacks in the supply of electricity to hospitals and essential service provider institutions. The State Minister has been referring to a new item published in the media in this regard yesterday. State Minister Indika Anuruddha says there will not be any cutbacks, and the report was alleged to have stated that the power supply to the Lady Ridgeway Children's Hospital in Colombo was disconnected as a result of not selling electricity bills. Opinions have been expressed on this regarding arrears in the electricity bills of the government institutions. State Minister Indika Anuruddha said that they are aware that the leading hospitals are unable to function without electricity for even a moment. Therefore, a grave error may have been committed. He also said that if there was a moment of power breakdown, it would not have been the result of a long-standing power cutback. He added that the engineers of the Ceylon Electricity Board have clearly informed the government authority to remain extremely vigilant on this issue. The CEB will not leave room for the occurrence of such a situation. The total outstanding payment comes up to nearly 50 billion rupees. The government institutions are liable to pay sum of nearly 6 to 7 billion rupees. The ministry has informed on arrears in payment on the heads of the relevant institutions. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says priority in the Sri Lankan foreign policy should be based on vibrant economy and security tendencies.
He has made these remarks participating in the annual diploma presentation ceremony of the Bandaranayake International Diplomatic Training Institute. The institute, which has been established in the year 1995, is extending extensive contributions in the training of local diplomats. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena has presided over the 24th diploma presentation of the institute yesterday. Students who have shown excellent skills were felicitated with the handing over of the Srimavo Bandaranayake, Dr. Vernon Mennis and Lona Devaraja awards.
As the President declared, our foreign policy priorities must be based on national interest, of which major components are a strong economy and a robust defense system to protect the nation from all forms of threats to sovereignty and territorial integrity. Sri Lanka, with solid experience of 90 years of universal franchise, is the oldest parliamentary democracy in Asia. Our country is located at a geographical epicenter in the Indian Ocean, and since ancient times, the trade from east to west and west to east used our harbors as an important hub. We are always told that it is our biggest strength and our foreign relations must be revolved around the strategic asset. It is true that we are naturally gifted as a country. However, I am even convinced to say that our greatest asset, strength, has always been a solid civilization that runs into 25 centuries and a well-cultured human resource that was highly skilled and was able to manage the West and the East throughout history and create wonders in the international arena. This is Asia's century, and in this we have most vibrant economic partnerships such as ASEAN. The ocean around us is the world's third largest. It commands 60% of the world's GDP, sees 80% of the world's shipborne energy transport, through the oceans and facilitates 46% of the world's merchandise trade. 55% of the world's container traffic fly through our ocean. It is convincing enough to all of you that Sri Lanka must see the importance of maintaining freedom and openness in navigation of our seas and sea lanes. Just as much energy has become a hot topic in the international relations today, it is important to keep in mind that we must harness and secure these in an environmental friendly modes for our growth, but importantly as well as in a climate friendly manner.
Initially, BIDTI was established as a training institute for diplomats to learn skills and attributes necessary for the profession, as well as to deepen, widen and elevate knowledge of diplomacy and world affairs to the country at large. The objectives of the BIDTI are not only to promote and disseminate knowledge and understanding of the profession, but also to mold and fashion the personality of participants, thus enabling them to conduct themselves as dignified and gracious representatives. In order to achieve this objective, the BIDTI conduct courses and programs on soft skills, including but not limited to etiquette, interpersonal skills, communication, and courtesies as well. Since then, BIDTI, knowing the demand of the courses, focusing and accentuating on economic diplomacy, foreign affairs and international relations, attracted a large number of civil servants from Sri Lanka, administrative service, medical professionals, military, media, corporate sector, and officials of the diplomatic missions and international organizations based in Sri Lanka, among others.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa says that the generation of the youth should be turned into a partners of export revolution. He made these remarks on the occasion of presenting a new bus to the Cambridge National School in Kottagala today. The vehicle was handed over under the Sakwala program, which is being implemented on a concept of the opposition leader. This was the 38th bus presented under the program. Meanwhile, the General Students' Union of the Rajarata University was engaged in an agitation last night.
Their demand was to release from custody the convener of the Inter-University Students' Federation, Vasantha Mudalige, and convener of the Bhikkhu Balamandalaya, Venerable Siridhammathera. The protesters have been demonstrating in front of the Rajarata University in Mihintale for a period of around 1.5 hours. Thereafter, they have dispersed peacefully after expressing their views to the media. Meanwhile, another protest campaign was conducted in Haputale town today over failure to grant redress to the victims of the Meeriyabad earth slip, although 8 years have lapsed since the disaster. The event has been organised jointly by the plantation labourers and the Frontline Party. Now, in further news, the message to commemorate the 99th anniversary of the proclamation of the Republic of Turkey by Ambassador of Turkey to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Her Excellency Demet Sakurgio, will be telecast today just after the English News Bulletin on ChannelEye.
In line with her founding principle, peace at home, peace in the world, Turkey works to help establish an order which will pave the way for peace, prosperity, human development, lasting stability and security in her region and beyond. To achieve her enduring objective, Turkey is implementing an enterprising and humanitarian policy by extending her helping hand to those in need around the world through her humanitarian assistance. One of the recent examples of such an assistance has been 3 consignments of drug and medical equipment donated by the Turkish government for the use of Sri Lankan Health Ministry. Sri Lanka is considered as a valuable partner and friend within this new initiative launched in 2019.
Meanwhile, an event was organised in the Golf Face Hotel to commemorate the 99th anniversary of the proclamation of the Republic of Turkey. It was held under the patronage of Ministers Keheliya Ramukwalla, Susil Premajayantha, Nazir Ahmed and Vijayadasa Rajapaksa. Her Excellency Demet Sakurjo, Ambassador of Turkey to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, and many other distinguished guests participated on this occasion.
The Presidential Media Division has also joined hands with the community kitchen concept, which has been introduced to the relieved citizens who are faced with difficulties in fulfilling their food requirements. The Presidential Media Division staff, who has attended a program conducted at a community service center in Rajagiriya, has provided midday meals to around 400 needy persons. The fund have been provided by the Welfare Society of the Presidential Media Division. An extensive dialogue has arisen on the community kitchen concept following implementation of the multifaceted joint mechanism to strengthen rural economic revival centers based on a concept of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The ultimate object is to consolidate food security and nutrition. Another aim of the program is to prepare Sri Lanka to face any impeding of food crisis, as well as to assist those who are finding it difficult to prepare a nutritious meal. Director General of Presidential Media, Danushka Ramanayaka, the directors and staff of the division has also participated in the program.
The whitefly disease is reported to be spreading rapidly in many districts in the island, destroying coconut cultivation. A program to enlighten the concerned groups in this regard was held in Elivala in Pannala recently. Measures have been taken to enlighten the coconut cultivators with practical and theoretical knowledge. The program was conducted through initiatives of the officials of the Coconut Cultivation Board. The groups were educated on methods to control the whitefly menace using chemical and natural ingredients.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena says a decision will be taken regarding voting for the budget. He made these remarks to the media after attending a function. Former President Maithripala Sirisena said that only after carefully studying the budget that they would be able to say whether it would be a victorious or a defeated budget. He further said that a peaceful situation has dawned on the country. He added that, however, he feels that there is a strong impact from the port to a faction. He also said that fertilizer subsidy is a serious issue and farmers are still encountering the problem. Now, the diplomatic faces exclusive interview with the European Union Ambassador to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, His Excellency Denis Chaibi, will telecast tomorrow at 8:20 on ChannelEye. In the interview, the ambassador highlighted the quality and uniqueness of Sri Lankan export products that will extract more value. He also emphasized that the social standards and labor standards in Sri Lanka is much higher than the rest of the countries in Southeast Asian region.
Sri Lanka has a unique advantage of having the best of everything. You know, if you look at the clothing, they do the most expensive pieces, the one that requires a lot of technology, such as sport equipment or bras or things that are really the upmarket. This quality is certainly there for agricultural products. Obviously, the tea is the best, everyone knows it. Ceylon tea has no rival, but more than that, cinnamon. You know, all around the world people consume cassia and don't know that this is a poor ersatz of cinnamon. What the EU has done, it has financed the classification of cinnamon as a geographic indication. Now only Sri Lanka can sell or export Ceylon cinnamon, which has very different properties from cassia. The cinnamon is sold for almost 8 times the price of cassia. By attaching this label of quality and uniqueness to Sri Lanka, it can get much better prices. And that's the aim. You know, the tambili is simply the best. I've never had such a nice coconut anywhere around the world like here, the juice, which is now very much favored by all high-level sports people. So for every single product, we can come up with a strategy that will extract far more value and define Sri Lanka as a luxury product. It can be that for tourism. Wellness is quite upmarket. I think that is the way for the relations between Sri Lanka and the EU. Then another very important element for the product is that social standards, labor standards in Sri Lanka are much higher than in the rest of the region. So therefore, in an environment where people are much more wary of the conditions in which the product has been produced and exported, these very high standards is certainly a favorable element for the Sri Lankan economy.
Minister Douglas Devananda says removal of sand mounds, which is causing heavy obstruction on the Kirinda Fisheries Harbour, will be removed within a period of 1 month. The minister has made these remarks at an observation tour to resolve problems prevailing from Kirinda to the south of the country today. Secretary to the Ministry of Fisheries has instructed the relevant officials regarding measures to be taken in this connection. The biggest hardship faced by fishermen is their inability to bring their craft to the deep waters due to the soil mountains. The fishermen have pointed out that the harbour is covered with big sand layers. The minister has promised to commence the sand removal process from next Monday.
On to some news items in brief. The inaugural ceremony of the pilot project to provide leadership training on aesthetic and professional issues to school children has conducted in President's Girls' School in Rajgiriya. The program titled We on Behalf of Children is being jointly conducted by the Ministry of Education and the Kotte Divisional Secretariat Division Office. The LOLC group of companies are also sponsoring the project to be conducted through coordination of the Mata Foundation. Director of the Mata Foundation, Venerable Athuradiye Ratanathera, Minister of Education, Susil Premajanta, Managing Director and the CEO of the LOLC Group, Kapila Jayawardena, have also attended. Presentation of songs compiled by Secretary of the Boards of Directors of the National Savings Bank, Attorney at Law Mrs. Anupama Mohanduram, took place at the Bankers Institute in Burala yesterday. All songs were sung by Visharada Mangalika Ternakon, the Mahasangha chairperson of the NSB, K. Shiraja Jayawardena, chairperson of the SLRC, W.B. Ganegal, and officials in the banking and media sectors have also participated in the ceremony. That's it on local news. Coming up next is international news.
People's Remittance இடமிருந்து நாளாந்தம் 10,000 ரூபாய், வாராந்தம் பெறுமதியான தங்க பவுண்ட், மாதாந்தம் 1 மில்லியன் ரூபாவுடன் வருட இறுதி மாபெரும் சீட்டிழப்பில் 1 கோடி ரூபாய். நீங்கள் வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து மக்கள் வங்கியினூடாக பணம் அனுப்பும் போது பரிசு குவியல். People's Remittance, கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம், அனுப்பவும் வெல்லவும்.
Continuing with news from overseas. Brazil's bitter rivals attack each other in the second head-to-head debate. The grand finale of a brutal campaign marked by months of mudsliding, negative ads and a flood of disinformation ahead of Sunday's runoff elections.
Brazil will elect its next president on October 30th in a cliffhanger. Runoff between the far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro and veteran leftist Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva, far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro and leftist ex-president Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva has repeatedly slammed each other in liars in a final debate that touched on the economy, corruption and foreign policy only 2 days before Brazil's runoff election.
Prima Stella Set Yogurt.
ජය ගන්න වැඩි වෙන්න.
Now we'll take a look at sports news. Sri Lanka lost to New Zealand in 65 runs in a T20 World Cup match played today. However, Sri Lanka is eligible for 2 more matches in the tournament.
Sri Lankan players have been successful in taking the first 3 wickets of the New Zealand team for 15 runs in the match played in Sydney, Australia. However, team has recovered and scored 167 runs with a loss of 7 wickets at the end of 20 overs. Glenn Phillips have scored his second century in T20 but scoring 104 runs. Sri Lanka, chasing a victory target of 168 runs, lost their first 5 wickets for 24 runs. Bhanuka Rajapaksa has scored 34. The team has entered the innings all out for 102 runs in 19 overs and 2 deliveries. The Sri Lankan team will play their next match against Afghanistan on the 1st of next month in Brisbane. Sri Lanka's final engagement in the Super 12 round will be worked out in Sydney on the 5th of next month.
And in more sports news, the Holy Family Convent, Kurunegala, has gained eligibility to enter the finals of the National Schools Netball Tournament in all 3 age groups. The final will be taking place tomorrow at the Malyadeva Stadium in Kuliapitia.
The tournament has been organised jointly by the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Sports and the Northwestern Province Sports Ministry. The matches are being conducted under the 3 age groups under 16, 18 and 20. The finals in the under-19 tournament will be conducted between the Holy Family Convent and Malyadeva Girls Schools, Kurunegala. Both teams have also gained eligibility to compete in the finals of the under-18 category as well. Finals in the under-20 group will be conducted between Holy Family Convent, Kurunegala and the Museus Girls School, Colombo.
Prima Stella Set Yogurt.
ජයගන්න වැඩි වෙන්න.
And that's a wrap of the news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.